The sudden and tragic deaths of legendary director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, on December 14, 2025, stunned Hollywood, fans, and the public worldwide. Known for directing iconic films like When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men, Rob Reiner was a beloved figure in both the entertainment industry and the hearts of his family. However, nothing prepared the world for the shocking revelations that followed after the public release of his final will. The document, unexpectedly leaked online, revealed a distribution of his $200 million estate that left many shocked, confused, and in some cases, outraged. According to the contents of the will, the majority of the estate, approximately 70%, or around $140 million, was allocated to his second son, Nick Reiner. This included the full copyright ownership of his most famous films, royalties from long-running hits such as Seinfeld, and the family's Brentwood mansion, a New England-style home where the tragedy had occurred. The remaining 30% of the estate was divided among his other children, with 20% going to Tracy Reiner, his adopted daughter from his first marriage to Penny Marshall, and the remaining 10% split evenly between Jake and Romy Reiner, his other two biological children. The estate distribution raised immediate questions and public speculation. Many asked why Rob Reiner, a man who had built a life filled with love for his children, would leave the largest portion of his fortune to Nick, who had struggled with addiction, personal setbacks, and reportedly serious mental health issues. Friends of the family have long described Nick as troubled, often unstable, and dependent on his parents for support during difficult periods of his life. Meanwhile, his siblings, Jake, Romy, and Tracy, had established more stable and independent careers, and some wondered why they received a much smaller share of the fortune. This decision, while reportedly made out of love and concern for Nick's future, sparked heated debates on social media and in public forums. People questioned whether Rob's extreme generosity toward Nick had inadvertently contributed to the family's current tragedy, and whether such indulgence can sometimes have unforeseen and devastating consequences. Alongside the shock over the inheritance, legal experts immediately weighed in on the implications of California law, specifically the Slayer statute, which prevents anyone who intentionally kills a relative from inheriting from their estate. If Nick were convicted of first-degree murder for the deaths of his parents, the law would automatically prevent him from receiving the inheritance, redistributing his portion to his siblings. However, Nick's defense team is reportedly pursuing a not guilty by reason of insanity plea, citing a long history of addiction and mental health struggles. If successful, this could create a legal loophole allowing him to still receive a portion of the estate, because the law requires proof of intent. This combination of family drama, legal uncertainty, and public outrage has created an unprecedented situation that has captivated people worldwide. While the legal system works to determine Nick's eligibility for inheritance, questions about Rob Reiner's intentions and the distribution of his estate continue to dominate discussions. Rob reportedly explained in the will that his decision was motivated by love and concern for Nick's future. Friends have shared that Rob often said, "My children are my lifeblood. I have never loved anyone the way I love them." In his will, Rob wrote, "I just want Nick to have a chance to get back on the right path so he does not repeat the mistakes I have seen." The emphasis on giving Nick the largest share was not about favoritism, according to those close to the family, but rather a calculated attempt to provide him with stability, opportunity, and support in a life that had previously been unstable and challenging. Rob's decision to leave the Brentwood mansion to Nick, in particular, reflected a desire for his son to have a safe and familiar home, one that represented both family memories and the chance to maintain a stable environment. Similarly, the allocation to Tracy, Jake, and Romy was carefully considered. Tracy, the eldest daughter from Rob's first marriage, received 20% of the estate, approximately $40 million, to ensure her family could be cared for. Jake and Romy received smaller portions of the estate, reflecting their financial independence and established careers, though Rob's will emphasized that he wanted to ensure every child was supported according to their individual needs. The estate distribution sparked intense public debate, with some arguing that Rob's generosity toward Nick was excessive, and others suggesting it reflected a deep, unconditional love and a desire to help a son in need. Psychologists and commentators noted that parents often try to protect and support children who struggle, but the situation with Nick has highlighted the potential dangers of leaving large inheritances to children without safeguards. Many wondered if Rob had considered the potential consequences, including the possibility of family conflict or public scrutiny. But it is clear that his motivation was rooted in care and a desire to give his son a chance at a better life. As the public continues to react, the story has raised larger questions about inheritance, parental love, responsibility, and the ways wealth can impact family dynamics. The tragic murders, the shocking allocation of assets, and the potential legal battles create a story that is as dramatic as any Hollywood screenplay Rob Reiner himself might have directed. The events surrounding Rob Reiner's death and the subsequent controversy over his estate have not only shocked the public, but have also drawn significant attention from legal experts, family psychologists, and social commentators. California's Slayer statute is central to understanding how Nick Reiner's inheritance could be affected by the criminal case. The law clearly states that any person who intentionally and criminally kills a family member cannot inherit from that person's estate. This means that if Nick were convicted of first-degree murder for allegedly killing his parents, he would automatically lose his inheritance, and the estate would be redistributed to his siblings. However, the law also includes an important detail. The act of killing must be intentional. Nick's defense team is reportedly pursuing a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, arguing that his history of addiction and mental health issues could prevent him from forming criminal intent. If successful, this could mean that Nick may still legally claim a portion of the estate, despite being accused of murdering his parents. Civil courts also have the power to apply the Slayer statute without waiting for a criminal conviction, if it can be proven with more than 50% probability that the act was intentional. This means that the battle over the estate could continue even as criminal proceedings unfold, creating a complex legal situation for the Reiner family. The public response to the leaked will has been intense, with many people expressing shock and disbelief at the allocation of 70% of the estate to Nick. Critics argue that leaving such a large fortune to a troubled child may have inadvertently contributed to family tensions and tragedy. Social media platforms are filled with commentary about the risks of parental indulgence, and debates about fairness, love, and responsibility continue to dominate conversations. Many people have questioned whether Rob Reiner's extreme favoritism toward Nick, while rooted in love, might have created conditions that led to disaster. On the other hand, supporters argue that Rob's intention was compassionate, aiming to provide Nick with the resources and stability needed to rebuild his life and avoid repeating past mistakes. Friends and family members have noted that Rob often worried about Nick's future due to struggles with addiction, professional setbacks, and periods of financial instability. By leaving the largest share of his estate to Nick, including valuable copyrights and the family mansion, Rob aimed to give him a chance to stabilize his life and build a sustainable future. The Brentwood Mansion, in particular, represents more than just financial value. It holds decades of family memories, including both joyful moments and challenges. Rob's hope was that Nick would cherish the home as a place of stability and familial connection, even in the face of personal struggles. In addition to Nick, the other children's inheritances were carefully considered. Tracy, the adopted daughter, received 20% of the estate, approximately $40 million, allowing her to support her family and maintain financial security. Jake and Romy, with more established careers and financial independence, each received around $10 million. Rob's intention was not to create inequality, but to provide each child with resources appropriate to their circumstances. In interviews and public statements, legal experts have emphasized that the Reiner estate case could set significant precedents in understanding inheritance law and family dynamics in situations involving alleged crimes and mental health defenses. Attorney Sean Weisbart noted that the combination of criminal charges, the potential insanity defense, and the Slayer statute creates a unique and complex legal landscape. Civil courts may also have a role to play in determining the final distribution of the estate, making the legal proceedings potentially long and complicated. The situation has also prompted psychological analysis, with experts weighing in on the impact of parental favoritism, financial support, and family conflict. Some psychologists argue that excessive parental indulgence, even when motivated by love, can create a sense of entitlement and contribute to family tension. Others emphasize that Rob's actions were rooted in compassion, seeking to provide a son in need with the resources necessary for a stable and successful life. Beyond the legal and psychological aspects, the Reiner estate story has captured public fascination because it combines elements of tragedy, wealth, family drama, and the timeless questions about love and fairness. People are intrigued by the possibility that Rob's love for Nick, while genuine, may have inadvertently set the stage for conflict and speculation. The combination of wealth, legal complexities, and public scrutiny makes this story uniquely compelling, and it continues to dominate discussions online and in media outlets worldwide. As lawyers prepare to potentially contest the will, and as public opinion remains divided, the Reiner family faces a situation that no parent could have fully anticipated. Despite Rob's clear intentions to support all his children according to their needs, Rob Reiner's legacy, both as a filmmaker and as a father, continues to be defined by this complex and tragic situation. His films, which have inspired generations, are now entwined with a real-life drama that feels as intense as any of his most celebrated works. The legal battles over his estate are expected to unfold over months, if not years, as questions about Nick's potential inheritance, the validity of the will, and the role of civil and criminal courts are resolved. Meanwhile, the public remains captivated by the story, following developments closely and speculating about the motivations, intentions, and future of the Reiner family. The leaked will has intensified discussions about parental love, responsibility, and fairness. Rob's decision to leave the majority of his estate to a son in need highlights the difficult choices parents make when balancing care for one child with fairness to all children. It also raises important questions about the impact of wealth, privilege, and parental decisions on family dynamics. The tragic deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner, combined with the inheritance controversy, have created a story that is both heartbreaking and fascinating, highlighting the unpredictable nature of human relationships. Experts in law, psychology, and family studies are analyzing the situation closely, offering insights into the consequences of parental indulgence, the complexities of inheritance law, and the ways mental health and personal struggles intersect with family dynamics. Public reaction continues to be intense, with many expressing anger, sympathy, or a mixture of both. Some criticize Rob's decision as excessive, while others see it as an act of love and compassion, intended to give Nick a chance to rebuild his life and avoid past mistakes. The situation also underscores the importance of clear legal safeguards and estate planning when dealing with children who may be vulnerable or face significant personal challenges. As the story develops, questions about justice, family loyalty, and the impact of wealth remain central. Will Nick Reiner ultimately inherit the fortune, or will legal proceedings and family challenges prevent him from receiving what was intended for him? How will the public view Rob Reiner's legacy in light of these events? And what lessons can families, parents, and society at large learn from this complex and tragic case? The answers to these questions remain uncertain, but the Reiner story continues to be a powerful reminder of the interplay between love, wealth, responsibility, and human complexity. Rob Reiner's intentions, though rooted in deep concern and love, have sparked controversy and debate, highlighting how even the best-intentioned actions can have unforeseen consequences. The unfolding legal battles, family conflicts, and public reactions will continue to shape the legacy of one of Hollywood's most beloved directors, demonstrating that the intersections of family, money, and morality are as complex as they are compelling. As this drama continues to unfold, it serves as both a cautionary tale and a reflection on the enduring power of parental love, the unpredictability of human behavior, and the lasting impact of choices made in the name of care, compassion, and family. On December 14, 2025, the world of Hollywood was shocked by the sudden deaths of legendary director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. Known for classic films like When Harry Met Sally, The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men, Rob Reiner was a figure adored not just by fans, but by his family and colleagues. He had built a life full of creativity, laughter, and love, and yet nothing could have prepared anyone for the next surprise that would rock the entertainment world: the public release of his final will. The will, leaked online shortly after the tragic deaths, revealed the distribution of Rob Reiner's $200 million estate in a way that shocked and confused many. The largest portion, around 70%, or $140 million, was left to his second son, Nick Reiner. This included not just money, but valuable assets, such as copyrights to his most famous films, royalties from long-standing projects, and the family's Brentwood mansion. The remaining 30% was divided among Rob's other children, with 20% going to Tracy Reiner, his adopted daughter from his first marriage to Penny Marshall, and the remaining 10% split between Jake and Romy Reiner, his other two biological children. The allocation immediately caused public debate. Many people questioned why Nick, who had struggled with addiction and other personal challenges, received the largest portion of the estate. Friends of the family had long described Nick as someone who needed guidance and support, often relying on his parents during difficult times. Meanwhile, his siblings, Tracy, Jake, and Romy, had more stable careers and lives, which led many to wonder why they received comparatively smaller shares. Despite the surprise, those close to Rob explained that his decision was motivated by love. Rob wanted to give Nick the chance to rebuild his life and avoid repeating past mistakes. In the will, he reportedly wrote, "I just want Nick to have a chance to get back on the right path, so he does not repeat the mistakes I have seen." His focus was not on favoritism, but on providing stability and opportunity for a son who had faced significant challenges. The Brentwood Mansion, a New England-style home filled with decades of family memories, was part of Nick's inheritance. Rob hoped that this home would provide Nick with a safe place to live and a foundation for his future. Similarly, Tracy's share of the estate, approximately $40 million, was meant to support her family, while Jake and Romy received smaller portions reflecting their financial independence. Every decision was made carefully, according to friends, to ensure that each child was supported according to their individual circumstances. As news of the will spread, discussions erupted online and in the media. People debated the ethics of leaving such a large fortune to a child who had struggled so much, while others emphasized the importance of love and family support. Experts noted that this situation highlighted the complex decisions parents make when balancing care for one child with fairness to all. It also raised questions about how wealth can influence family relationships, sometimes in unpredictable ways. The combination of tragedy, family drama, and a multi-million-dollar estate created a story that felt almost like a movie script. Yet, for Rob Reiner, it was very real. He had spent his life creating stories for others, and in the end, his own family story became one filled with complexity, love, and difficult choices. While the world reacted to the shocking details of the will, Rob's friends and family emphasized that everything he did was motivated by a deep sense of care and hope for his children's futures. The Reiner estate also raised important legal questions that captured the attention of lawyers and the public alike. California's Slayer statute is a law designed to prevent anyone who intentionally kills a relative from inheriting from that relative's estate. In Nick's case, if he were ever convicted of first-degree murder related to his parents' deaths, this law would automatically prevent him from receiving any inheritance. The estate would then be redistributed to his siblings. The situation became more complicated because Nick's legal team reportedly intended to pursue a not guilty by reason of insanity plea. Nick has a long history of addiction and mental health struggles, which his lawyers argue could affect his intent. Since the Slayer statute only applies to intentional killings, proving intent is crucial. If the court accepts the argument that Nick lacked criminal intent due to his mental state, he could potentially inherit part of the estate, even while being accused of the crime. Civil courts also have a role in cases like this. Even without a criminal conviction, a civil court can rule that an inheritance should be denied if it is more likely than not that a family member intentionally caused the death. This legal complexity has made the Reiner estate case unique, as it intersects criminal law, civil law, and family inheritance rules. Legal experts have pointed out that the proceedings could last for years, and every decision could set new precedents for how estates are handled in similar situations. Beyond the legal perspective, the family dynamics are equally complex. Nick's struggles with addiction and personal challenges have been well documented by friends and family. He has faced setbacks in his career, financial instability, and periods of dependence on his parents. Rob's decision to leave him the largest share of the estate was rooted in a desire to give him a chance at stability and success. Yet for the public, the decision sparked debate. Many questioned whether this level of generosity could backfire or create resentment among the other siblings. Tracy, Jake, and Romy all received portions of the estate, but smaller than Nick's. Tracy, as the adopted daughter, received 20%, which was designed to help her maintain financial security for herself and her family. Jake and Romy, who had established careers and more independent lives, each received about 10%. Rob's goal was not to create inequality, but to provide support tailored to each child's needs. By balancing love, fairness, and practicality, he hoped to ensure that all his children could benefit from his estate while addressing individual circumstances. The public's reaction to the estate distribution was intense. Social media discussions highlighted contrasting opinions. Some people argued that Rob's generosity toward Nick was excessive, potentially creating family tension or fostering dependency. Others emphasized that it reflected unconditional love, showing how far parents will go to support a child in need. Psychologists noted that while parental support is essential, it can also sometimes create challenges, such as entitlement, conflict, or resentment, especially when large sums of money are involved. Even the legal experts recognized the unusual nature of the case. Attorney Sean Weisbart noted that the combination of criminal charges, mental health considerations, and the Slayer statute created an exceptionally complex legal scenario. The courts would need to carefully balance evidence, intent, and family circumstances before determining the final distribution of the estate. Meanwhile, the public continued to debate the ethics of Rob's decisions, with opinions divided between compassion, fairness, and concern for long-term consequences. Through all this, the story remained deeply human. Behind the numbers, percentages, and legal jargon were a father's hopes, a family's struggles, and the profound complexities of love and responsibility. Rob Reiner's estate case illustrated how wealth, family dynamics, and personal challenges intersect in ways that can be both unpredictable and deeply emotional. Rob Reiner's legacy as a filmmaker and a father is now intertwined with this extraordinary real-life drama. He created films that inspired millions, yet the story of his own family has become just as compelling, filled with questions about love, fairness, and responsibility. As legal proceedings continue, the public is captivated by every development, speculating on what might happen and what it means for the Reiner family. One of the central themes of this story is the tension between parental love and fairness. Rob's decision to leave the majority of the estate to Nick highlights the difficult choices parents must make when one child faces challenges while others more independent. Balancing care, compassion, and equity is never easy, and this case shows how those decisions can have far-reaching consequences. Experts in psychology and family studies have weighed in on the situation. Some note that giving a child too much support, especially in the form of wealth, can sometimes lead to unintended problems, including entitlement, dependency, or conflict among siblings. Others emphasize that Rob's actions were motivated by genuine love. aiming to provide stability and a chance for Nick to rebuild his life. It is a reminder that parental decisions are often complex, with no single right answer. The public reaction has also been intense. Many have expressed sympathy for Nick and understanding for Rob's intentions, while others criticize the distribution as excessive or unfair. The debate reflects broader societal questions about wealth, inheritance, and responsibility. It also shows how personal family decisions can become topics of national conversation when millions of dollars and famous names are involved. The Brentwood mansion, included in Nick's inheritance, is symbolic as well. Beyond its monetary value, it represents family history, memories, and a place where stability might be rebuilt. Rob clearly intended for his children to have resources tailored to their needs, not simply equal portions. Tracy's share was designed to provide security for her family, while Jake and Romy received what the parents considered fair based on their financial independence.